The only announcement we have is there will be an executive session after the meeting for legal matters. Mr. Saul, would you read the notice of the meeting?
Yes. Special meeting of the Montoursville Area School District Board of School Directors will be held on December 29, 2015 in the Montoursville Area High School Library, 100 North Arch Street, Montoursville, PA, starting at 6:30 p.m. The purpose of the meeting will be to consider school board policy revisions, approve invoices for payment, receive updates regarding the additions and renovations to Montoursville Area High School, as well as any and all action that may come before the board. Anyone attending the meeting who requires assistance or special physical and or communication accommodations should contact the district prior to the meeting. Submitted to the Williamsport Sun Gazette, and I believe it was on Thursday.
All right, at this time we'll take public comment. It will be limited to 3 minutes for a 30-minute maximum time period.
Good evening.
Please state your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Dan Mathers. I live at 517 Gentry Lane, Montoursville, Pennsylvania. First of all, I want to wish you all every success. I don't relish you are grappling with some of these issues on the building project, but I'm sure you'll come to a good solution. Just a few questions that come to my mind in this that I'll just kind of toss out to you, and maybe you can address in due course. You're probably miles ahead of me on all this already. One thing kind of relates to land development. The other couple of issues may relate to finance. In terms of land development, if the footprint of the existing project is significantly changed, assuming that land development is viable, what would you anticipate to be the delay caused in receiving land development permitting approvals, stormwater, parking, green space, that sort of thing? So what might be the incumbent delay to that reapproval process? And the second part of that question is, might that delay in any way jeopardize the lead grants, the plan funding, those kind of things, which I understand are multi-million-dollar pictures already in place? So that was one question I had. Other question, to me, is a little more important, and I just don't quite understand it, so I throw it out to you to deliberate on as well. I see kind of two paths here. A, we have the existing project, and of course it's been pretty well hashed out what it is. Long-term bond financing is in place for that. And there's, of course, through the elections, been a good hashing of is it affordable, isn't affordable, but to define commodity and its long-term financing and pushing it low. My concern was if we stop that process, don't we change the character of the debt? If we stop that process, the lawsuits start. The lawsuits and defense costs for those suits are immediately payable. They're no longer long-term debt. They're due today. They're due when the case goes to verdict. They're due when the demand is made. What's going to pay for those? I understand that the district may have $500,000 in cash. once you blow through that first 500,000 in defense costs and contractor claims, what's going to pay the balance? Do we seek protection under bankruptcy laws for these suits? Do we do an interim tax increase to cover these immediate expenses until we can later do a tax increase to cover construction? I can't believe that a bond being at that stage is viable because we're being a distressed school district trying to float a bond to fund antecedent debt, past debt, not new construction. So all of that, the character of the debt caused by approach A or approach B, I don't understand. I'm up. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm Carl Wentzel, 1479 4 Fairfield Township. I noticed a letter in the paper not too long ago from Mr. King back there about our property values going down. Why did my assessment go up $4800 in the last 2 months?
I think if you read the whole letter,
I did the whole letter.
you have to read the property value, taxes come to
When you
talk about
Mr. Wexler,
Yes.
please just address the board.
When he was talking about taking the screws on the new board, he was making the screws and the ones that got voted out. If the board met in the middle, we had some meetings over this, but a lot of people don't realize this isn't just Montoursville School. There are 6 other municipalities involved with it. Now, I've been told by 4 people from Montoursville I have no business saying anything about this school. Well, as soon as somebody in this district of Montoursville wants to pay enough property taxes, I'll quit saying anything. But if we're going to go ahead with this spending, I think the teachers and the administrators will take 5-year pay freeze at the least on their benefits and everything. That's my feeling on that. But I know this is a hot issue, and one other thing I'd like to say, on both sides of the fence, this Facebook crap has to stop. All it's doing is getting people fired. It's not what we should say. And it's got to stop these nasty remarks. I will not get on Facebook if I want to talk to somebody. I've told Bill this. I've told others this. I'll call you and talk to you person to person, or I'll come up to you and talk to you person to person when I take it up to the poll. But this is going to be a tough situation for a lot of people. I know you don't want to hear it. But there's people out there that are stretched as thin as they can go. But that falls on deaf ears.
Good evening, Board. I had a chance to congratulate those that won the election on your hearing, and I wish you all the best for success. Just a couple of things in mind with the, as you deliberate on Dave Schimmel, 1201 Spruce Street, Montoursville. As you deliberate on which way to go, to rescope the project, keep the project, tear it down, do something to it, maybe nothing to it, whatever it might be. I think of some hard losses if the project were canceled. Hard losses. Monies that will go away forever. $3 million in engineering and design. Cancel the project. We don't have anything to show for it. $2 to $3 million in raising the academic wing as it's constructed, no, partially constructed, hauling that away to the landfill, plowing it back over, trimming in the grass. $2 to $3 million to do that. Then there's the $3 to $4 million in contractor claims on overhead, lost overhead and profit. We're looking at $8 to $12 million, $8 to low end, $12 at the upper end. The money we'll have to spend to cancel the project, and then we have nothing to show for it. So that's a big concern for me. You know, the core of the project for me has always been the academic thing. That's for the next 50 years worth of our kids. They're going to be educated. And that's really what this is all about. They get to go there. And honestly, if you look back on letting this project proceed, I think you'll look back on it in a few years and say, it was because it was for the next 50 years.
so many years, it's been Montoursville Area Valley. So thank you to the new board members, because had it not been for you guys, Loyalsock Valley would still be up there, like, you know, you're out in the country, who cares about you? And second of all, I'd like to see some new numbers come in for the Keystone and PSSA tests. I mean, my daughter's a teacher at Southside, my son-in-law is a guidance counselor for Williamsport, but they live in Montoursville, and of course the kids go to school here. And it's embarrassing to be at the bottom last year, this year, so I would like to see something done about, you know, I don't think a 3-story school would have made any difference at all in these test scores. So I'm asking that you go ahead and you know, look into that and see what's going on, and you know, try to get the best teachers and give our kids good education without having it. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Paragraph 716 Wall Street. This is totally unrelated to any issues whatsoever, but there's a lot of people here who are concerned, and we can't hear anything in the back. So I don't know if there's a way to maybe have people who are speaking on the microphone, but if we're here and we're voicing opinions, there are probably things that are being heard. Here.
Paul, is there any way to move this down further? I don't think there is. I don't think cables in the reaches.
If not, they can move there.
Yeah, might as well.
My name's Karen Wright. I'm from Upper Fairfield Township. First of all, I'd like to thank the new board members. You gave up a lot of time during this holiday season to work on this project, and I just want you to know that we support you, we appreciate you, and whatever's decided tonight here, we will stand behind you. Just wanted to thank you all for that. Secondly, this doesn't have anything to do with the building project, but I'd like to address this to Mr. Bowers. In the article in the Sun Gazette yesterday, they spoke of a program offered by the West Branch Drug and Alcohol Commission. It's called Too Good for Drugs, where they target 12-year-olds, be it 3rd to 5th grade, where they teach them to make healthy decisions. And they found this is proven program to not only impact decrease in drug use, which I don't think there's anybody in this room that hasn't been affected by drug or alcohol or some kind of juvenile problem. This program has been proven. They listed the schools that are participating in this: Keystone Central, South Williamsport, East Lycoming, Montgomery, Loyalsock, St. John Newman, Jersey Shore, and Muncie. And my question is, was Montoursville approached about this? And if they were, why aren't we not participating?
My guess is it was discussed through the 339 program. So our curriculum director is working with our counselors to redo our 339 program. So we don't have all the conclusions from that program yet, or all the recommendations. So that very well could be a recommendation we have not received yet. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with him and check with our principals. We typically, before we do any new programming, we actually meet with all of our admin team. We also involve teachers and counselors, and we try to figure out, can we fit it in our current program. Sometimes it's already being addressed through other programming. Sometimes we have to take certain programs out so we can add new programs. So all that has to be figured out. It's not just a matter of saying, yeah, there's a new program, let's just go ahead and add it. We have to try to figure out if it works for us or not. So that very well could still be in the pipeline for us. I just don't know the answer for sure. But I can find out. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And just so you know, Karen, we had planned on talking about that tonight.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
If that's all the comments, then we'll move on to the agenda items.
Mr. Snell. Can I
Yes.
have the floor, please?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Snell is president of this board, and Mr. McCleary is vice president. I'm addressing you two. At the December 7th board meeting, motion was made and approved to fire our longtime solicitor, Mr. Holland, and appoint Ben Landon. This motion that you did approve was obviously known beforehand to 6 of the board members. It was obvious you all knew about that. 3 of us did not know anything about it. That would be Mr. Conkle, Mrs. Marriott, and myself. I would like to know how that happened and who's responsible. Mr. Snell and Mr. McCleary, also at the December 7th board meeting, the motion was made and approved to give Bassett Engineering an approximate $60,000 contract to do a value engineering study of this high school. It was obvious at that meeting that 6 board members had prior knowledge that that would be done. 3 of us knew nothing about it. Mrs. Marriott, Mr. Conkle, and myself. How did that happen, and who is responsible? Mr. Snell and Mr. McCleary, at the December 7th board meeting, a motion was made and approved to give Mrs. Jill Kaplan a position to enter the classrooms with unbridled restrictions, with no, to do pretty much as she needs to do in the classrooms, to do I don't know what. That hasn't even been made clear what she's going to do. It was obvious that 6 members of the board had prior knowledge of that, while 3 members of the board knew nothing about it beforehand. Mrs. Marriott, Mr. Conkle, and myself. Who is responsible and how did that happen? Mr. Snell and Mr. McCleary, at the December 7th board meeting, a motion was made and approved that all change orders of this high school building project would be approved by you and Mr. Lowe. It was obvious that 6 board members had prior knowledge, while 3 of us knew nothing about it beforehand. That would be Mrs. Marriott, Mr. Conkle, and myself. How did that happen, and who is responsible?
Is that it?
For now,
Thank you for your comments.
That was a question.
I would also like to address each of those issues, Mr. Snell.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Rowling.
Am I being cut off?
Thank you for your comments. Now we'll move on to the agenda items.
What's the answer?
Where's the answer?
There will be no comments from the audience, or you will be asked
Where's the transparency?
The first item on the agenda is to consider a revision of School Board Policy 006, meetings for the first reading.
Answer the question.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of this policy change, which everybody has a copy of.
You like the answers?
Yes.
Any board member can make a motion.
Answer the questions.
Do I have a second?
Questions.
Questions or comments?
What are you hiding?
What is the reason for having the change to 6:30 instead of the 8 o'clock time?
We decided to,
Who's we?
a couple of us, myself. Myself and Mr. McCleary decided that we should probably change it earlier because that gives more of the public an opportunity to come,
So you can
because
address
the public that has children that need to take care of their children.
Well, I see it kind of the opposite way, only because I have a daughter in the high school who's in sports, so that'll hinder me, because the sporting events, she plays soccer, sometimes they're not over till 7:30. So I guess it can just be both ways, that's why I was wondering. So I can see it both ways.
That is the reason.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to say the same. I had a daughter in softball, games were over, I was able to do both. So I believe years ago when it was set up like that, 8 o'clock, I believe that was some of the discussion years ago, and that's my comment.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Snell, may I have the floor?
Yes, Mr. Ruffing.
The appointment of Ben Landon as solicitor. Could I see the list of the other legal firms or attorneys that were considered for that position?
I believe that doesn't have anything to do with the motion that was made that we're voting on.
That's okay. I understand that. Could you address that? Could you answer that?
We are voting on a motion.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Now we will move on to the second item on the agenda. To consider the payment of invoices placed on the table for additional review during a December 1st, 2015 board meeting, including general fund check number 49606 and capital project fund checks numbered 1013 through 1020. You'd like to make a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I'd like to make a comment.
Questions or comments?
Mr. Kaplan, I believe it was you who made a motion to hold these payments. Is that correct?
Right.
Why?
Before that meeting, a series of requests were made as to what a lot of the bills being paid were. And those were answered to the satisfaction of the financial people. And the question of adding up the total numbers for these remaining things and what they were for was not clear. So they were simply tabled for further study. Further study meant having them reviewed by the construction people and working with the administration on getting those taken care of as quickly as possible if everything was checked out. This is a standard operating procedure that most boards follow. And I know in the past those things were not really done, and it should not be assumed that they're being done because there's something going on that's wrong. In fact, that's how we make sure that things are being done correctly. Now, on all those items that were tabled merely a couple of weeks ago, they are not overdue or anything like that. And that is one of the main reasons we're having a meeting tonight, because we did not want to have any doubt, and we wanted those bills paid if they're approved tonight to those contractors who have provided good services, and all their bills, there are no duplicates, there was nothing billed that didn't belong. All those things have been checked out. So that's a standard thing that happens. And I would like to recommend that those bills be paid, because there is nothing remaining there that's of any question.
And had you considered contacting Mr. Saul like others of us
Have
do?
I considered what?
Contacting Mr. Saul by phone prior to holding a meeting and questioning those bills as the rest of us have done in the past, therefore making this meeting unnecessary?
I actually had been in touch with Mr. Saul and had a series of emails with different questions on it, and I needed to find out some other information and make sure that everything was in order. It's not an embarrassment to hold bills for a matter of a couple of weeks. I foresee that happening whenever there's a question, and there's a lot of bills. There's $29 million that we spend in operational money, and that's a lot of money. There's a lot of companies that don't have that kind of money to spend, and when you have $29 million, somebody's got to have to make sure that everything is done right. And if there's any questions, they can't always be handled in the manner which you would like.
And how much did that cost?
I believe he answered your questions, Mr.
I have
Ruffin.
another question.
I'm sorry, you had your time. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Snow, may I have the floor, please?
Yes, you may.
I just have a real quick question. Is there something in the board policy as to how much time we have to speak?
The Robert's Rules of Order state, and actually, I gave Mr. Ruffing more time than
What
Robert's.
is the time?
He is allowed to ask a question, make a comment, and then it goes to any other board member. And then the only way it legally goes back to Mr. Ruffing is if he is the one that makes the original motion. And he wasn't the one that made the original motion. I gave him more time allotted because he did have questions.
Thank you.
Mr. Bassett?
Mr. President, do we have a contract with Mr. Bassett that we can see, that we can look at? Do we have something in writing with him?
You should. We're paying him 60 grand. I hope it's in paper somewhere because that's more
Do
than
we have
I
no
need.
contract with Mr. Bassett? We have nothing in writing? So we're paying somebody who has no contract?
Hold that bill then.
Isn't that something that should have been brought up?
We have the scope of work. There was no written contract. We have the scope of the work.
Scope of work, can we see that?
Sure.
I never saw it.
I never saw it.
Why wasn't these questions brought up before the meeting?
Because they didn't know what's
You
going to
had
happen.
time beforehand.
We asked for a meeting 3 weeks ago and we were denied.
I was denied twice.
So why didn't you bring up the question?
We asked for a meeting, I wasn't gonna.
I asked for a meeting twice and was denied.
Where were you at the December 7th meeting when you had a chance to ask these questions and said nothing?
Because you rammed it through. so
Mr. Ruffing,
Oh,
Mr. Ruffing and Mr. Conkle, the reason why, and Mr. Kaplan, the reason why that meeting was denied was I was refused a reason for the meeting.
I understand that.
That's why the meeting, I could not call a meeting without knowing what the reason was.
And I gave you the reason.
No, you did
I
not.
know, sir, I have emails, yes, I did.
Mr. Sal, Madam Floor.
Yes, you may.
Is it not true that Mrs. Marriott, Mrs. Conkle, Mr. Ruffin were invited to meet with Mr. Bassett alone?
Yes, it's true.
And that they refused, and they could have met with him individually?
Yes.
And asked any questions of Mr. Bassett?
I believe that's it.
Yes.
We asked for a meeting, that the whole board be invited.
But you were offered a meeting with Matt?
Because we wanted everybody to hear everything.
But it's important to know that that was offered. You refused it, which is your right.
All right, that's enough. Out of everybody. We will take Mr. Bassett's presentation now.
Thank you. We've already begun our value engineering study. We started on December 9th. We toured the school with Mr. Tormino and Joe Naffo with the maintenance department. Who attended the meeting was my structural engineer, Dennis Peters, mechanical engineer, Bill Ertl, a specialist in sprinkler design who accompanied Mr. Ertl, our electrical engineer, Angelo Martrano, and our architect, Tony Komernicki with the architrave. And we took a general tour of the school as a group. We wanted the whole group together at the one time to evaluate the existing school and just get familiar with it. Other than myself, I don't think any other folks had been to the school, so it was a fresh set of eyes. Since then, I obtained the drawings from the maintenance department, and we are working on scanning the drawings. We're going to create PDF files of the drawings, and of course we'll give the school them as well as our team members. We have actually, I believe, all the drawings dating back to 1949. We have a full set from the 1993 project, and that's the most relevant set of drawings for our work because we are evaluating the existing school, and that project worked on all of the existing school at the time and also expanded on that. We also looked at a partial set from 1995, which mostly was the addition to the cafeteria, and another set of drawings regarding some work at the stadium. On December 22nd, some of us toured the school again with Mr. Tormino and Mr. Naffo. That was our structural engineer, our electrical engineer, and our architect. These are initial findings, and I want to stress these are not all-inclusive, they're not final. There may be things, and probably are things we did not find initially, we may find in follow-up work. Our structural engineer reports there are only very minor issues. There's one very important safety issue, which is the brick ledge in the locker room is not supported properly. It's a boys' locker room. The attic, the A-wing, question about the wood framing. Only very minor repairs are needed to the wood framing in the attic for the entire A-wing. The EFIS, which is the finish on the exterior of the second floor above the cafeteria, should be replaced. That is in poor condition. That's the general findings of what our structural engineers come up with so far. Our architect has come up with some items as well. A number of the windows that we believe were replaced in 1989 should be replaced. They have failed. ADA, American Disabilities Act, accessibility is poor in many locations, and that should be repaired and improved. We don't see that as being a terribly expensive project to do. And there are some other minor issues that could be resolved fairly easily. Our heating, ventilation, air conditioner engineer, air conditioning could be added, we think, fairly simply to the school. The heating supply has come into question. If needed, and we're not certain that it is needed, it could be increased again fairly simply and inexpensively. But he needs to review the drawings in particular, and he wants to follow up with another visit sometime soon. So there's no firm conclusions from him, but we did take a look at most of the system pretty thoroughly. The sprinkler consultant who looked at it actually is a contractor who bid on the project, so he was familiar with the new project, but not so familiar with the existing school because the project that's currently under construction did not have a great deal of involvement
with the existing school. But his conclusion that sprinklers could be added, it would not be, it'd be complicated but not terribly difficult. We don't have any costs on anything just yet. Electrical engineer looked at the work. He needs another look as well. He wants to come back out, but he's given it 2 pretty thorough looks. He found the distribution system being in good working order. As to the question of whether it has adequate spare capacity for any additions to the building, he needs to review at least 2 years worth of electrical bills, and I have not contacted Mr. Saul for them yet, but he would want to actually review the bills. They'd be able to tell then how much the existing capacity is being used. The auditorium and stage lighting probably needs replaced. Apparently it's older, and several problems were reported to us. The fire alarm system is a Simplex, is the name brand of the system. That, there's a question already about parts availability, and that should be replaced no more than 5 to 10 years from now. And it certainly could be worked into a current project, and that may be worth considering. Outdoor lights, the high pressure sodium lights should be replaced. They're considered a safety risk nowadays. The metal halide lights that are in the parking lots, that's the whiter lights in the parking lots, may also want to be replaced. The exterior emergency lights do not meet current code, they need to be replaced. He did not see problems with the classroom or hall lights. They are in apparently good order. He does want to look at them in a little further detail, but he didn't see any problems in his 2 walkthroughs so far. And the generator, existing generator, is in good condition and does not have many hours on at all. And that is the normal situation with emergency generators. They don't get used much. I looked at the site and civil engineering issues, and we see several ways to improve bus circulation and safety, and we want to investigate that further. We haven't got too far in that. And parking, which has been raised as a concern, that's one of the things you see of the new school project, a lot of additional parking, and that could be added at the expense of green space. But there are places to add parking if that's desired. The sea wing, the issue had been raised previously about the basement being wet, and then Mr. Tormino pointed out there's a wet in the weight room downstairs, that's also wet. And there are relatively simple fixes to solve the wet basement problems. We did see evidence of water damage, but that would not be terribly difficult to solve that. So that's where we're at on, we see our project as being twofold. One is review of the existing physical space, the educational space, what needs to be repaired and or replaced in the existing space. And so that's the summary report of that. We're further along on that than the second question, which is the review of the educational space and the educational needs, meaning the needs for additional space or change in use of the existing space. Tony Komernicki and myself met with Mr. Tormino last week on the 22nd. There have been tabulations of classroom space. There was one of the initial feasibility by the architect. We reviewed that, Mr. Tormino. He gave us some updated numbers, then he sent us a spreadsheet. And that identifies classroom by classroom, how large the classrooms are, and all different, not just classrooms, but gymnasiums and library and so on. So we're updating that tabulation. We also discussed in some manner the number of classrooms, the number of teachers, full-time teachers, existing and anticipated, to try and identify, well, how many actual classrooms are needed, of which type. Our next step in regard to reviewing educational space is to review the drawings, see what space is available. Does it work for its purpose as it is, or can it be repurposed? A good example of that is the existing agricultural shop and industrial arts spaces will be vacated with the new tech center being built. And is there a good use, or what is the best use for that space? And then the last question we're looking at is is additional space needed? And if so, for what purpose is that space needed? And then how best to provide that space. That's what we're just now getting into. That's our summary of where we're at to date in the study. We still see ourselves being on track to provide a more detailed report at the January 12th board meeting, and we do plan to present our findings at the January 26th meeting for review and comment, and I would expect there'll be questions, comments, and changes from the board that we'll have to revise the report after the 26th. Thank you.
On the 9th, how long were you here on the 9th?
We were here probably 2.5, 3 hours.
And on the 22nd?
About the same.
Thank you.
Was that the total amount of time you did the evaluation?
No, we've been doing
For being in the school?
in the school, yeah, so far. We're not done.
What do we look like, 5 hours? 6 hours and that did it?
Again, I said we're not done.
Okay, all right. And Mr. Snell, can he take questions?
Excuse me?
Can we ask Mr. Bassett questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
you should be able to.
You can ask Mr. Bassett questions, but do it respectfully.
Well, I most certainly will. So how many schools have you designed, Mr. Bassett? How many schools, a school this size? How many have you designed, or how many schools have you done this value engineering evaluation for?
I have designed one school. My team members have designed more.
Okay.
I don't have a number.
You don't?
No.
Okay. The one school you did design is comparable in size to this?
No, it's not.
It would be comparable in size to what?
Well, it's Walnut Street Christian School out in Davis.
Okay. How many students are in that school?
I don't have the number on that.
About 130.
Okay.
That's grades kindergarten through 12. Okay.
Right.
Do you feel that having designed a school that, a very small school like that, in which I saw a picture of it, do you feel that that qualifies you to do a value engineering study on a school this size?
Well, again, my team members have designed other schools, and they've done a great deal of work on schools. That's why I assembled a team of experts that complement. They're really the primary drivers of the study. They are the technical experts on schools. What a civil engineer does on any school is the same as on any other building, as we design the site and the plumbing, underground piping, parking, driveways. And I've done dozens of projects, much more expensive than this, where I've done that part of the design, and they were public spaces. So I see that excuse me, I'm not done. I think I'm perfectly qualified for my part of the study, and I'm comfortable that my sub-consultants, my specialists, are equally qualified for their parts of the study.
Okay. And when I look at a portfolio that we got from Crabtree Rohrbaugh and Associates, and it lists scores of schools that they've done throughout the area, and actually it's actually 120 school districts. This is a very extensive portfolio. May I see yours?
I don't have any such thing ready at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett.
I would ask if we proceed this way, that we visit some of the sites like we did the last thing, visit some sites that those people have taken care of, if we proceed this way. Not that I'm in favor of it, but we need to see some sites.
Mr. Bassett, I don't question your ability on your specialty, and I've read your webpage, and I don't question your ability at all, sir, on what you specialize in. I question your ability on something like this, and I question not you, but how you were selected.
I understand. But like I say, the way I see it is that you need some experience in a school to look at a school. My team members have more experience with schools. And again, their specialty is the interior of the schools. I think when you're designing a heating and ventilation system, for example, if you design it for a school or a motel, several partners work together, a number of motels, for example. The heating and ventilation system you buy, the company you buy it from is the same, whether it's a school or a sewage treatment plant or a hotel, motel, etc., industrial site. And the same is for all the specialties. The structural engineer designs a brick and block building. Doesn't matter what it's used for, he's designing the brick and the block and the roof, etc. So I think our team is very well qualified. I don't think you need to be a company that does strictly schools to be able to evaluate a school properly.
And you finished?
Yes. Thank you.
And I respectfully thank you, Mr. Bassett, but we disagree greatly on your last statement that you don't have to specialize in schools. Personally, I disagree, but I thank you. I thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett.
Thank you.
Mr. Kastner, could we get your update on?
Can you hear me okay? Good. The high school additions and renovations project, I didn't actually give a report at the December 7th meeting, so this is kind of a compilation of the two things. But we still are doing all the quality control, testing and monitoring, etc. The suspension didn't really affect that. It's something that's in place to make sure that what we are doing is first class. In the tech ed area, the masonry is at bearing height. We actually have a roof on the building at this point. There are actually some finishes going on inside. I have a couple things here that are getting ready to start, but they're actually started now. For example, painting started yesterday. The HVAC units and gas-fired unit heaters are expected in about 3 weeks. We'll be able to provide heating with permanent equipment, which is always a good thing. All the electrical boxes, transformers, etc., are there for the tech ed area. The installation of above-grade mechanical, plumbing, and electrical rough-ins is continuing. Things like duct work, which all the hangers are up. They're getting ready to start after the painter paints the deck. They'll start putting duct work up. There's a sequence to it that will work right through the building to turn that one out in very good shape. Aluminum window frames and glazing are also going in at the Tech Ed Center. They were already installed in the maintenance building right next to it there, the existing building. We let's see. Written notice was given to the contractors regarding the suspension. The meeting was the night of December 7th and afternoon of December 8th. We sent that out. We've been sort of monitoring things with respect to the board's motion that was passed to make sure that we're in compliance, and I've been in touch with Britt on the things that he's been assigned to monitor that way. We still have roofing to do at the animal lab at the Tech Ed. Shop drawing submittal process is continuing, but it's almost complete. And then part of the board's motion that was passed at the last meeting was to provide winterization for the area that is suspended to protect those elements from winter weather. We've been pretty fortunate so far. But a scope has been developed. It's been okay to proceed with that, and we will be starting that this week yet and completing that through next week. The stadium project, the project is complete with no further punch list. The contractor there was very cooperative. I think he has sent in his final payment request, which is fine. There was some vandalism that may have been discussed in the last meeting, but the vandalism as far as the track is concerned has already been repaired. So we're back in business there. Loyalsock Valley, the RFPs had been sent out as indicated at the 2 meetings ago to the 3 firms that were the local firms. We ended up getting 1 proposal back from Bassett Engineering. All aspects of that proposal looked in order, and that was awarded at the last meeting. And we advised Bassett to submit the appropriate contract form to proceed. I know Britt Bassett's already been out to the Loyalsock Valley School to look at the existing conditions. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Snell.
May I have the floor, please?
Yes.
Thank you. With all due respect, at our last meeting, and it was just said a little while ago that why didn't we ask questions before, but there were 3 motions made where you did not allow or permit questions or comments. You went right to the voting of it. One of them being the changing of the solicitors. You went right to the motion. Second, all those in favor. There were no, you can look at the video, I did. My question is, as far as the solicitors go, how did this come about before you were even a board member? How was he chosen? Were there a list of people that you interviewed, or?
No, there wasn't.
Then can I ask how you came to choose Ben?
Because we felt that he was the best choice.
Who did? Who's we?
Okay. May I ask Mr. Landon a question? Okay. Mr. Landon, would you say that you're impartial to this building project?
I would say that as a solicitor, my job is to give advice to the board, and that's what I'll do.
Okay. Have you, I'm sure you're aware of Facebook. Have you made any comments on Facebook regarding the project?
Yes.
I did.
Can I ask what your comment was? I'm sure there were many.
The theme.
My job is to represent the board in an impartial way, and that's what I'm
Well, would you
going
say
to do.
that's impartial if you've already made comments against the project?
I think Mr. Landon is here to represent the board and to make decisions for the board in legal matters.
I understand that,
And
Mr.
he
Snell,
is
but what I'm
here,
getting at
he is here for the benefit of the board and the Montoursville Area School District.
2/3 of it.
Well, I guess I'm asking also because, you know, motions were made at this last meeting where 1/3 of us had no idea that any of what was going on was going to occur.
And you didn't ask questions.
You didn't
Well,
have
during
that.
that,
You
we
didn't say,
weren't-
I don't know what's going on. Why is this happening?
I think that's
Well,
I have a-
Mr.
I have a-
Chaplain, it was brought
With all
on
due
kind of all of
respect,
a
I-
sudden.
We're not gonna get an
That's
argument
not
back.
respect, actually.
I just was wondering.
First of all, Mrs. Marriott, if you remember, before that board meeting, we were not board members. We were
Yes,
citizens.
Right, that's right, exactly.
And that's why we
That's
made
the
the
point.
decision felt that you already had a solicitor in mind
Yeah.
before you were even.
I'd like to add a comment to that. One of my comments is that I worked for 13 years with the County of Lycoming as a supervisor and a head of a department. And I also worked with different legal things, including purchasing things on bidding and other financial matters. And we had hired, the county commissioners had hired McNerney Page, Vanderlyn and Hall to handle these very important things that they have going on, to make sure that not whether they liked politically what the politicians, because the commissioners are politicians, what they liked, whether they agreed with them, but to make sure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed, and in fact, Ben was handled a lot of those. At the beginning, Gene Yaw handled pretty much everything that was done, and then as Gene became very much more busy, Ben took over, and for many years he served to help the county and the county commissioners to make sure that things were done properly. And so he has a lot of experience, and he's with one of the oldest, most reputable firms. And they felt very, the county commissioners were very, very happy, I know. They attended all their meetings, and just like here, if there was a question that needed a ruling, that's what the solicitor does. And he also makes sure that things are, advised properly.
Well, can I ask you just one more question? I'm sorry.
Sure.
How much experience in school law then do you have?
Well, I have some, but I won't discuss the particulars of it. For the same reason that I don't discuss your business with other clients, I'm not discussing their business with you.
I just wondered if you had experience in school law.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Snell. Mrs. Marriott, is it your contention that you need to be neutral to be involved in anything here, whether it be the lawyer, the engineer? Are you saying that everybody here should be neutral? We sure have enough people here tonight that are on one side or the other. And from what I'm hearing for you, if we're not, or if the person's not on your side, that somehow they're not qualified or there was something inappropriate done, okay? Not everybody sitting here is on the same page, okay?
I understand that.
And so the suggestion that Mr. Landon, his personal views on something should be considered on his qualifications as an attorney, I don't think is relevant.
How can it not be relevant when he is the solicitor for the entire board, where he should be?
Because he's a professional.
And I just wanted to make sure that he was going to act professional.
Let me just say to you, Mrs. Marriott, that as an attorney for the entire board, my job is to represent the entire board and to give legal advice to the entire board. As of the time of appointment, I have no personal opinions on anything the school district does.
Mr. Snell.
Sure.
May I have the floor?
Sure.
With respect.
Thank you. Mr. Landon, a couple questions for you. So you don't discuss, I'm not the least bit interested in your qualifications. I don't find them to be nearly what we should have for a solicitor, but that's beside the point. But when you go on Facebook pages and when you make comments, you put that out there for everyone to see. That is no longer.
We already discussed that.
We already discussed
That was not discussed. That's not professional.
Let me finish. I want to show everyone how impartial.
This is out of order.
I have the floor.
There is no attacking of individuals.
I'm not attacking. I'm making a point.
No.
I'm making my point.
No.
I'm elected just like
That's
you.
the solicitor.
I want to make my point. Here it is, Mr. Snell, right here. We're going to bring transparency to the board.
Mr. Snell, I'm sitting right here. Does he need to yell? Can you just...
That is enough. You do not attack our solicitor that we hired to represent this board.
Who's we?
Who's we?
We hired.
You hired.
You blindsided us.
That's enough. That's it. That's it.
I'm elected. I'm elected just like you
You
are.
also have to follow the rules, and I said there will be no personal attacks.
There's not a personal
May I have the floor?
No personal attack.
Mr. Snell, may I
I
have
will
the
not
floor?
personally attack Mr. Landon. I will not attack him, and I will treat Mr. Landon.
What Mr. Landon does in his personal time is his personal business.
That doesn't.
Mr. Snell, may
And
I?
it has no place in this board.
Yes, it does. Oh my
This is
God.
not his personal life. And he makes comments
The same
that
standard. Right. Board members.
Can I read
That is personal time. Has nothing to do with his business on this board.
What it has to do with is that Mr. Landon was a vocal supporter of option 6, and when he makes the statement, Ben Landon said, I don't care what they
This is out
spend
of order.
anywhere else.
You're out of order.
I am utterly opposed to
Mr.
a new
Snell.
$6 million
Yep.
in Montoursville.
Mr. Snell,
And
may I
I have
have the
no
floor?
intention
We are
of changing
adjourning
my
this
mind.
meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We need a second.
Meeting adjourned.